Okay, so after this, remember I told you that those words after this, so there was some indeterminate amount of time between what happened in John 4 to 46, and then John 4:54. There was some indeterminate amount of time after this. So and then where did he go?
Jerusalem.
He went to Jerusalem. Jesus went up to Jerusalem. We talked about that too, right? That you always go up to Jerusalem. Lights. I used to make fun of my mom when she said, "Hey, can you read the phone book for me? I can't." Now, there I am. I shouldn't have been so disrespectful to my mom when that happened. But my kids do it to me too. Okay, so yeah, he goes up to Jerusalem and then beyond the Jordan to yeah. So that's 20 miles through hills and the Jordan Valley. So why did the Bible say that Jesus went up to Jerusalem? Okay, we already talked about that, right? Yeah, we already talked about that. So John 10:40. What's happening in John 10:40? He goes from Jerusalem to where? Yeah, beyond the Jordan. So he's going over to the Transjordan Hills. He's going across the Jordan. So he goes from Jerusalem beyond the Jordan River, about 20 miles through hills and the Jordan Valley, which is quite a deep valley. 20 miles. And then what's going on in John, well, you already read 10:40, but through 11:117, what's going on there?
The death of Lazarus.
Well, yeah, but we're talking about his movements. So he's on the other side of the Jordan. So he goes from the beyond the Jordan to where? Yes, in Judea, Bethany in Judea. Bethany is very close to Jerusalem. We'll talk about that when we get there. So he walked about 18 miles through hills and again through the Jordan Valley, back through the Jordan Valley. So he's in Bethany. And then in John 11:54, he leaves Bethany, and where does he go? In 11:54. Ephraim, yeah. And that's about 25 miles through hills. Now, there were a number of political leaders. Obviously, at this time in history, Israel was not free. It was claimed by the Romans. It was part of the Roman Empire, so it was ruled by the Romans. They did have their own leaders, spiritual leaders, but they had a number of different leaders Roman leaders, and then there were also some leaders that were actually Jewish leaders. So in Judea and Samaria, you've heard this name Herod, right? And so there was Herod the Great. I call him Herod not so great, but from 43 to 43 BC. 43 to 4 BC. So he was the Herod when Jesus was born. And then there was Archelaus from 4 BC to 86. He's not as well known. And so they were the procurators. That means that they had some power, but the real power was Rome, right? So you've got the procurators who are Roman, and they had Coponius, I think that is, and then Pontius Pilate, whom you know, right? And Ambivius, Rufus, Gratus were all sent from Rome to make sure that the Jews didn't revolt and to be the true power over the Jewish people. And then in Galilee and Perea, there's Herod Antipas, who was the Herod during this time when Jesus was alive. And he's the one that killed John the Baptist. And then in Iturea and Trachonitis, and you can see these on your maps, that's northeast of the Sea of Galilee. Philip was the leader of that area. So that's just a little bit of the geography as well as the government of that time. And so we're done then. So we're going to go on to the lecture now. And I'll stop